What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Civilization 5 Deity Europe AI battle thing, whatever we want to call this one. Episode 4. I know it feels weird, we're at turn 237 and it is episode 4. Very unusual feeling. This would normally be sort of where we do our first info addict check, normally around maybe turn 100. But obviously we've been doing these a bit different. It is, in theory, this is essentially the start of episode 13. If you think about how I used to do them, so that's kind of makes sense. And obviously we're still a lot further ahead than we would have been then. We normally would not, recently, like the last year or so, I'd say we probably would have been doing highlights for a while by now. We wouldn't have been watching everything, but it's still running at a good speed. There's plenty going on. I don't think anyone's complained yet, although episode 3 is only going out tonight for me, so I don't know, maybe someone will today, I don't know, hopefully not. But yeah, we'll run this one. I don't really know what turn we'll be at by the end. It's going at about a turn a minute, so obviously that would suggest 60, but I've just wasted a minute, and we are going to look at the info addicts at turn 250. So that would put us probably just shy of 300, maybe around 280, 285, once you account for the other things and all the me stopping to talk. So yeah, that's fine, and we'll just, I don't know, we'll find the point. I'll just keep going, I think, until I hit a point where I think, right, okay, maybe it's too slow now, or it's not interesting. I think when I did some of the smaller games in the past, there was clear points where it just wasn't worth going on, like the AI didn't do anything. We haven't really got to that yet, but potentially we could get there. And straight away, this video starts off with another big capital dropping. Istanbul finally going to Assyria. They've been attacking the Ottomans for a while with not much success, but there you go. That's a pretty big blow to the Ottomans. I don't know why this became their capital, by the way. Very weird selection. It's a puppet. You don't get to choose, do you? So that's a bit weird. I don't know why that is. They captured it. Yeah, that makes no real sense, but there you go. Mali has gone autocracy as well as Rome. And my voice is going already. Only 2 minutes gone. Oh my goodness, this is bad. It's because it's the morning, and I don't think I left enough time between waking up. For some reason in the morning, your voice is never the same. Greece has thrown a spanner in the works, and that didn't last. Byzantium coming straight back to grab their city back, but Greece did just declare war, so we might see some progress from them. More importantly, up here, against Byzantium's good cities, which is a little scary for them. The Huns and Rome pieced out, that doesn't matter. Rome and Wallachia they're nowhere near each other. Songhai v Denmark, not too important. The Huns, England v Belgium, and the Huns v Belgium, not Denmark. Got carried away there. Byzantium does get a peace deal with the Garamantes, who are of course now going after Carthage, although it's not really going their way so far. We'll see how that pans out. Yeah, I thought England v Belgium would have been big, but England v Denmark would have been big, but of course it was England v Belgium, so that didn't matter at all. The Goths and Rome have peaced out, and Greece has once again made some progress here. But yeah, this could be more interesting. This city, this one on the mountains, a little bit harder. And if they get them, then Constantinople... Oh, Assyria peaced out with Byzantium and took the other big city here, which means Greece will get to hold on to this one as well. So that's kind of a, a double win for Greece and Assyria. And yeah, big pickup for Assyria. It's not like they needed any more territory, is it? But there we go. They add a 16 population city there, stretching all the way to the western point of Anatolia. Constantinople, though, for now, will remain with Byzantium. It would be interesting to see if Greece could get all of this. I mean, not for Byzantium, but for us. That would be quite interesting, just to see how that affects things. France, what are you up to? Are you doing anything at the moment? No, not really. I think they might have peaced out with Belgium by now. I'm not 100% certain if they have or not, but obviously it'll be hard to tell. I'm not going to go and open that page with all the wars to find it. It's not that important, I'm sure we'll notice before it gets sieged out, should that be the case. Poland does have a settler. I mean, there's not much space to settle. There's still a little bit here in Scandinavia, I guess, if someone wants to, although Sweden's done a good job of slowly filling it up. There's a bit of Iceland, there's some islands around Britain. The Netherlands have got a settler out this way too. We'll see where that ends up. The Netherlands with a very strong navy now in the North Sea and up into the Baltic Sea as well. And we have the next World Congress level of infrastructure and a vote for the host. There we go. Of course, Poland adding another city here. It was already in their borders, but they add another one. Poland had a big expansion last episode. We'll see how they do. They are now a big power. Obviously 10 turns from now, 9 turns. We'll have a look at the info addicts, get an idea of who's where. Last time, if I remember correctly, Portugal, England, Rome, the Netherlands and Poland were always in a row, weren't they? They were always sort of that, at least 4 of them. I think Portugal was sometimes ahead of them, or the Netherlands was sometimes separate. But there was always 4 of them in a row in every single category. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I think Poland and the Netherlands have definitely leveled up a little bit since then. Maybe not so much the Dutch. Maybe they had all this when we looked at turn 200. I can't quite remember. Russia grabs Cristo Redentor. Mali pieces out with Wallachia, and Mercuria has remained the host. But Rome, I guess they've conquered some of this stuff, so maybe they've done a bit. England, maybe not so much since turn 200. I can't remember what turns the key events were, so it's hard to tell. And I don't know if France were in that debate as well. I guess adding Brussels maybe helped them a little bit, but I wouldn't say immensely, groundbreaking. I don't know. We'll find out anyway. And again, Portugal has been doing their stuff fairly recently, so they may have moved further ahead. We'll see. It's going to be quite exciting. I think the technology one's the one I'm excited about, because Portugal were winning by 1 last time, but it doesn't look like they're in the lead anymore, so it'll be interesting to see who it is now, because England and Assyria seem to have a bit of an advantage, but who knows? It could be resource dependent, of course, which we can't see. I think I can turn it on, but there you go. The Ottomans have just done... Wait, what happened? Oh, sorry. Assyria captured this city off the Ottomans. Okay, so the Ottomans are down to 2 cities. This city should be safe, at least, in Crimea, so they've got some hope. And Morocco versus Arabia does not matter. And Byzantium has completed... I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but the Statue of Liberty. Maybe it's not in Constantinople. I don't see it either way. It might come back if I look away. Come back. The Ottomans have freed them. And I said that I was not sure who was winning with which technology. Well, Russia is the first civ to complete the Manhattan Project and have infantry. So now they appear to be leading. And they have been building up very silently here in the corner. But look at the size of all these cities. All of them in the minimum, I would say the teens, but 10 is technically not a teen, is it? It's just 10. But there you go, most of their cities looking quite big, and yeah, all of a sudden Russia is the first civ with a Manhattan Project and infantry, which, there you go, I'm so confused as to who is doing well for technology. This is exciting. Sweden versus the Ottomans, that is not so important, but there we go, that has also broken out. Arabia and Egypt are fighting, aren't they? But as you can see, it just seems to be a bit of a mess in the Red Sea. No progress being made. There's actually 2 coral reefs. Oh no, yeah, there is. There's 2. Obviously, they're not. It's not the Great Barrier Reef, but I think it gives the same bonuses. A bit here owned by Assyria, and then Arabia and Egypt splitting the other bit. So at least it's shared. That's nice. Russia has now completed the Eiffel Tower, and Greece has joined the war against the Ottomans. I mean, if you just want to keep going through, that is fine. Assyria's planes here moving around. We'll keep an eye on those. I'm trying to move slowly so you don't get that little grey stuff moving around, but it's inevitable. I think everyone's okay with it. No one's ever said anything. I think that's just going to be there no matter what. I don't know. You can sort of make it less bad. Like if you let an area load in and then go back to an area you've just been in. Yeah, it sort of doesn't do everything, but it's the areas at the edge we don't look at like this that just sort of get a bit messy. But yeah, it's not too bad. I think we just put up with it, don't we? That's one of the things, like, that is completely out of my control. I don't think I have any ability to stop that from happening. Unless, I don't know, what is it? I think that might need a lot of RAM. I think it's RAM that would manage that. I don't know, to short-term memory of what it would look like. Maybe it's the graphics card, I don't know. But probably need a big upgrade in one of those things, even on what I upgraded to recently. So that's years down the line. Sorry, guys. Right, Arabia versus the Ottomans. That's not too big. Also, Syria's got anti-air guns. I don't even know if they've met England properly yet to know that there's another civ with planes. They're about as far away from each other as possible in terms of civs on this map. What else we got? Assyria did get a peace deal with the Ottomans, so the Ottomans will hold on to their 2 cities for now. Russia will go after Byzantium, which does not matter too much, as will the Huns. Again, not mattering too much because they're quite far away. I mean, there's only a few tiles, but open borders and stuff's probably not going to happen. Can tell Byzantium went freedom as they get the Foreign Legion units, and they have the Statue of Liberty, but the Foreign Legions will help too. We can't see it. I think I might have to reload the game, but sometimes you can see them. I don't know if we can see Russia's Eiffel Tower. I don't know where it would be because they have so many big cities, right? St. Petersburg is at 21. Could be there. Could be in Moscow. Oh yeah, you can, I think. Is that it? No, that's just a broadcast tower thing. But you can see the Cristo Redentor they built a few turns ago, so maybe it will show up eventually. You can see some other weird... Well, not weird, but you know, there's another wonder there. But you can't see the Eiffel Tower just yet. And again, it might be in Rostov here, which is also at 26 population. So it could have been built there. Russia pieced out. Oh, okay, not Byzantium, the Ottomans. One turn later. So at the moment, city-states are embargoed. Yep, I have to propose that again. Rome is embargoed. Arts funding has been proposed. And silk and wine have been banned. So there we go. Interesting stuff. What am I looking for? Nothing. It's turn 247. 3 more turns. Then we'll have a little peek, or not a peek, a full-on look at the info addicts, see what's going on, see which civs are doing well. Hopefully they work. I do remember what happened last time, so hopefully that works okay. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Sure, it will be fine. Right. Western Europe's quieting down a lot. I know Rome's fighting England. Rome actually has planes now. I'm just so confused. Who has what technology? It must be like resource dependent. Some of these civs doing well and some of the others not looking like they're doing so well. It doesn't make sense. We will find out very soon. Garamantes, yeah, it's not really worked for them against Carthage, I'm afraid. Thought it would go better for them, but it just has flopped, really. Real shame. The Songhai look quite good down here. Artillery, cavalry, raw infantry, cavalry. Not too bad. Mali, a little bit behind, even though they look a bit bigger, which is interesting. And Morocco looks even further behind, potentially just based on this and a lack of units. They have their unique units, which is pretty cool, but I think they're a bit out of date compared to some of their neighbours. Particularly, you think of Portugal, who now has submarines, which makes them a very scary prospect for any sort of naval battles. You know, Morocco probably wouldn't even be able to see those, and they'd just be getting sunk. Not really what you want. Okay, right. Byzantium, it's a war zone. I mean, Poland is still trying to attack them too, which could make things very complicated if this artillery starts getting some good shots in. But for now, at least, they're holding strong. I'm guessing the Huns are attacking them too, based on this. So yeah, Byzantium, back against the wall for now. We'll see if they can turn it around. I do like that the Goths made a comeback. That's good. They've sort of become like a Ukraine, almost. If only they had this city here, they would sort of be right, I guess. Yeah, they look pretty, pretty accurate, right? I mean, maybe a bit too much. Maybe shifted a bit to the west. I don't know, but looks kind of cool. Then we have this huge Poland, huge Russia. I wonder if those two would ever go to war. Always talking about Poland and the Netherlands rivaling each other here in the middle of Europe, but Russia could easily cause Poland some problems. And this city looks very nice, that's a very tempting 27 pop right there. We've also got 22 up here, 25 in Warsaw. This city has grown in this episode from 1 population to 5, so there's obviously plenty of food in this area. Surprised that Krakow is so low when there's all this food here. I guess it can't be worked, but still, bit of a surprise. And Sweden and Denmark have peaced out. So there you go. That is fair enough. They didn't really try Sweden. Like, not much to say there. They just didn't really bother to try and take anything. So fair enough. Do what you got to do, I guess. The world's most wonderful people. Who are they? The Netherlands with 5. Morocco, Mali with 5. Okay, we're going to see that in a minute anyway. Oh, wait. Okay, let's make sure we're all safe here. Save the game. We've made some good progress. 13 turns. Let's not retire by accident. Right, let's look away from the civs. There we go. That worked. Who is this? That must be... Oh, that's Assyria. Okay, that makes sense. I was going to say. But no, that's fine. There's some weird purple line that was doing really well and then dropped off. And I have no idea who that could be. Unless this is Poland and that's England. No, England's that red line. Who is... There's no like purple civs doing that. Must the Netherlands is this orange though? Who's this? Who is this? Who is apparently in fourth with a pink line? There's no civs with a pink line doing what? It can't be Spain, no. Poland is second apparently. This is just score. It's not huge. Mali. Okay, I mean score counts a lot of things. I mean it might not be that important, but there you go. I was very confused. I was like, who on earth is that? It's more brown, I guess. We just couldn't see that, or I couldn't. So it looks like there is sort of a leading pack here. Then there's this blue line, which is probably Sweden, who are starting to look quite good. Emerging as the best of the rest. Maybe catching up with the rest. But there's a lime green there. That is probably, I don't know. Who's lime green? Arabia, is that you? No, Arabia's not doing too well. It's not Ethiopia. That is Mercuria, who's kind of the best of the worst. The worst of the best. There's Rome. There's a red line, which is England. There's Poland at the top. There's Russia, I'm guessing, in yellow. The white one is Portugal, Mali, Netherlands. So Songhai is not doing as well as Mali, even though it looked like they were doing way better. But this is, again, on score. Not super important. It's just a big aggregate. And I'm guessing this is Assyria starting to exponentially take the lead. Although they've been halted for a while. Or maybe the graph just hasn't gone up enough. Maybe they are actually above that. But we look at the world rankings. That's what matters. So leading the way, it is Assyria with 35.8 million people. Then Russia with 32 and Poland also on 32. So there you go. That would be a huge war if those two ever went to war. You know, the two biggest, second and third biggest countries going at it with pretty equal size. Mercuria then sits in fourth. I know their capital is absolutely massive, so that does make some sense. Even though they don't have too many cities, they have, I think, 6 or 7. The Netherlands then with 28 million, and it's the same for England. Rome is at 27 million. France then a bit of a drop at 16 million. Portugal, and then Sweden rounds out the top 10. Crop yield, I think Assyria is going to win a lot of them. Don't worry, if you're new around here, we get used to it. Sometimes it's more interesting to see the other positions than it is to see who comes first. It can happen. The Iroquois giving us recurring flashbacks there. Assyria leading the way with 545 million bushels, well ahead of Rome on 407. Then it's the Netherlands, England and Portugal. There you go, in a row again, all four of them reunited, all competing with each other, which is really exciting. It'll be really interesting to see who wins in that side of Europe. Portugal in 5th. Yep, Russia and Poland then sit 6th and 7th, despite being the second and third biggest in population. Sweden then in 8th, Mali in 9th, and the Garamantes actually sneak into 10th. Production, Assyria's again winning, then it is the Netherlands, Poland, Portugal and England before Russia. So Poland has a production advantage over Russia. I'll try and keep an eye on that rivalry. I mentally just cannot handle trying to work out who's winning each category between the Netherlands, Portugal, England and Rome. To try and give you any context into that one, we'll keep an eye on who's maybe got the big leads in that. But yeah, we'll keep more of an eye on the Poland-Russia rivalry to spice it up a little bit. So economically, the Assyrians are winning again. Poland then in 2nd. The Netherlands, England, Russia again behind Poland, to note in 5th. Portugal, Mali, Mercuria, Rome and France again. France is doing quite well, to be honest. They are probably going to fit in the top 10 if they keep this up. It's a bit of a rivalry between them and Sweden normally to get in. Land area, Assyria well out in front, 4.38 million square kilometres. Yep, they look absolutely huge on the mini-map. So fair enough. Portugal in 2nd. The Netherlands then a bit of a drop in 3rd. Then it is Rome, the only other civ above 2 million square kilometres, although it does include the sea. England then in 5th. The Garamantes, Mali, Russia, Sweden and Mercuria. Russia looks pretty big as well, so I'm surprised Poland's not even on that list. They just sit there in 11th. Here we go, one of the big ones for everyone. Military manpower. Assyria currently leading the way with about 600,000 soldiers. Then the Netherlands, just 470,000 in 2nd. Then it is Russia, 372,000. And Poland, 369,000. So again, those two neck and neck in population and military. Portugal just behind at 361. Then it is actually Sweden up in 6th with 328,000. France in 7th, 319,000. Songhai with 300,000. Then England at 287,000. And the Huns round out the list with 273,000. Outside of Assyria, if you just imagine they're not there, this is probably the most competitive game I've ever seen. Social policies. Poland lead the way, of course. It is their unique ability to get some extra ones with the new eras. I think that's a bit more than this included here. They're also doing well, which is why they lead. And then maybe the lead's a bit bigger because of their bonus. But yeah, 29 for Poland, 23 for Byzantium and Morocco, 21 for France, Russia and Portugal, England with 20, Rome, Assyria and Mali, and the Netherlands there with 19, although the Netherlands just miss out on the top 10. Happiness at the moment, Mali sit with negative, as do the Garamantes are on 0, but apart from that everyone else is just about clinging on. Assyria's only on 3, so they may have to slow down a little bit. Technologies, some of these civs are dead, bear in mind, but the Sumer, 37, yep, they're gone. Babylon's gone. Denmark is alive with 41. But here we go, leading the way. This is what we wanted to see. Russia and Assyria are neck and neck, 60 techs discovered, 4 ahead of Poland. So that is a big one for Russia to bear in mind. Despite all the advantages Poland had with production, Russia has a science advantage. But Poland then with 56, as well as Portugal, who were 1 ahead last time we checked, so they've fallen off. France and the Songhai and the Netherlands all on 55. Then Byzantium, Sweden have 53, and Arabia and England are on 52. I feel like there's a big civ that's missing. I mean, Rome's down here. No, that's everyone. These guys are terrible at the bottom. Don't worry about them. Net gold we're not really looking at. You know, eventually they'll all probably end up negative, so it doesn't really matter too much. Cities, Assyria well out in front with 25. 14 then for Mali and Portugal. 13 for the Netherlands. 11 for Sweden. 10 for Rome, Poland and England. And then the Garamantes and Russia with 9. Science output, the Assyrians with 1,710. Russia with 991, so about half. So I assume Assyria will open that lead from... Well, actually, no, because it's based on number of cities, so they are probably paying sort of similar-ish amounts for technology. It might stay closer for longer, because Russia has, like, less than half the cities that Assyria has, so... And by the way, Russia is still double the Netherlands. I don't know how they've got so much science, both of those civs. I mean, Assyria makes sense, but Russia having such a big lead as well is surprising. But there you go, then it's the Netherlands at 530, Poland at 500, England 493, Rome 473, Portugal 424. Again, those 4 showing up sort of in a row, although Poland sort of wedged themselves in there. Sweden again, Mali, and then the Songhai. Culture output, Assyria leads the way, then it's Poland, Russia, Morocco, Egypt, England, Portugal, France, Mali, and Rome. Wonders, Netherlands, Morocco, Mali with 5, 4 for Portugal, 3 for Byzantium, Russia, Mercuria, and then 2 for England, Assyria, and Poland. Treasury we won't look at, some spend it, some don't, so it's not, you know, I mean, I don't think, some of these civs are dead as well, but, you know, some civs spend their money, some just hoard it away, some have now got negative net goals. It's just too, you know, we can't really look into its importance. Total faith is pretty similar. You know, Assyria just didn't get a religion and now have a ton of, like, you know, religious buildings they've conquered, so that's weighing into this. Faith gain, again, I mean, Assyria's just conquered a lot of stuff. There is a religion from another civ that they have, but, you know, it's not really, they're not choosing for it, I assume. Maybe they are, actually, I don't know. Civ's influence, though, Poland has influenced 3, a lot of 1s. Again, this probably won't be used in the results because there's just too many ties. It's not very fair. Great works, though. This will be used. Assyria leads the way with 20, Poland with 17, England at the Netherlands with 15, Morocco at 14, Portugal 13, Rome 11, Russia, Sweden, Mali, Mercuria, and France with 10. Trade routes probably, again, won't be used because there's normally a lot of ties and it's pretty even by the end. A lot of 7s, as you see, 8 civs with 7, and then a load with 6. We won't necessarily go through it, because again, it's not fair really, but you can pause and have a look if you want to. And here we go, last one, tourism. Assyria leads the way with 75, Poland with 48, 42 for Morocco, 40 for Portugal, 37 for England and the Netherlands, Russia with 36, France with 30, Rome 26, and Mali with 23. Right, let's click this stuff away and check the religions, and then we'll get straight back into it. Religious overview. This never sorts. It's very annoying. It never gets it right. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it is sorting by. Obviously something else, but... Okay, so Islam from Mali now in 64 cities, the biggest religion. Confucianism from Poland in 49, which is pretty good as well. Then it's 25 for Buddhism from Sumeria, which is sort of in the Assyrian cities in Arabia. 12 then for Eastern Orthodoxy from Mercuria, which will be sort of northeast Africa. 9 for Catholicism from the Celts in some of the English cities. And then, what's that other one? Hinduism from the Goths in 5 cities, just sort of around the Goths territory. Nothing too surprising there. And Rome and England do reach a peace deal. Did anything swap hands? No. Although Rome was actually making a comeback here towards Santiago, but England holds on to it. Both of those civs using planes against each other. That is the first two civs to do so. Also, that means, yeah, Russia must just not have oil. Although no, the Netherlands have it now too. But yeah, Russia and Assyria must have access to a lot more technologies that we just haven't seen yet come through in the units. I mean, Assyria now has infantry and anti-air guns. We know Russia has infantry. Assyria has battleships and machine guns. Okay, it's starting to show for Assyria. I just hadn't looked hard enough. They have the submarines too. Morocco has gone order, so we're still seeing a big mix on ideology. As you can see, the order civs, they've not rebelled yet. There's 4 of them: Arabia, Morocco, Garamantes, and Portugal. They're in revolutionary waves, as is Carthage, actually, who went freedom. That's a surprise, but the rest of them are... well, England and France are content, but they're a lot bigger, tourism-wise, than Byzantium or Carthage. And then there's still a lot of autocracy. And obviously Assyria's leading the way there, and Poland, the 2 biggest tourism nations in the world, I think. Definitely Assyria. Maybe, I think Poland was second, based on those numbers. So that would make sense. Most of the big ones have picked as well now, so it's not going to change too much. There's not like a huge civ that could sway everything. Still waiting to pick. Or at least I hope not. They're having a really tough time, but are still large. Maybe some of the North Africans, but I think they've all picked. For the most part. Mali connecting everything up. I like that we can finally see all the farms. This is something we missed out on before. My low graphics and just not being able to cope. We can now see where there's actual tile improvements. That's quite nice. I think there is still a limit. Eventually it doesn't show any new ones. But there you go. Assyria is the second civ, not too far behind Russia, to complete the Manhattan Project. So those two. Maybe it will be Russia threatening to nuke Assyria and mutually assured destruction that prevents their further expansion. Who knows? A city did just fall and I have no idea where it was. So I'm going to try and find it because I didn't read it properly. I don't know where there was a city low. Like, I'm looking around. I'm pretty sure a city fell. The Netherlands did settle up here. I'll hit next turn anyway, because it might fall back again, and then it's just... don't have to find it, do I? I don't know where it was. Apparently something fell. It's not that... Arabia has a plane too. See? Some of these civs were just waiting a very long time to build build the stuff that they've unlocked. Or get the resources, maybe. I don't know where this city is that maybe fell. Maybe it said something else. I'm not sure. It might have done. Yeah, I can't find anything. The Huns have entered the modern era. So they're not too far behind. They're a really weird looking civ right now. Because they don't look terrible. You know, they're just a bit behind on technology. But they've got plenty of stuff. I mean, I don't know what they do though. Attacking Russia is not going to work. The Goths, I mean, going through that one tile gap's not going to work. If you get enough boats, I guess you could go after the Ottomans here, but then that still doesn't help too much. I mean, yeah, it's just kind of tough position. I don't think there's really a way back now for them, I'm afraid. Sad as it is. Just sort of, you know, that's it for them. They've done well, but they're not going to get in the top 10. I'm sorry. There's too many other good civs, I think. Right, so who is in the hunt? Let me give you my verdict for the top 10. Who's in the hunt? I mean, there's technically normally only 50 turns till we do the results. I'll have a look. Well, I mean, no, normally we've been doing them at 250, but this time we'll be able to push probably to 300 quite comfortably. I'm just looking around. Assyria, yes, they're definitely in. I think they're almost certainly going to win. It's not, you know, it's not a surprise at this point, but it's fine. It's the other civs that can give us the entertainment. Who's going to win out of Russia and Poland? The Netherlands, France, Rome, England. Who's going to be the best out of the rest, basically, is quite exciting. So I think Assyria is definitely in. I think based on what we saw, Russia and Poland should be in there. That's 3. They're in the discussion. The Netherlands definitely are in the discussion. That's 4. Rome was in there. 5. 6 with England, and 7 is Portugal. Mali is definitely in there, so that's 8. I think the Songhai... I think they look like they should be in there. I mean, now they have planes and stuff. They're starting... Every civ's starting to make the leap into the modern era. I mean, Mali's now matching up to them too in that aspect with their own units. I think the Songhai just didn't seem to appear. They might be one of those unlucky civs that's kind of 11th or 12th or, you know, 13th all the time. And when I do my score system, they don't get any points. That could be an issue for them. Because it does always feel a bit harsh. You could end up where, say, Songhai comes 12th a lot and gets 0 every time. And then Morocco just wins. I think Morocco was second in like culture or one of those sort of statistics. Wonders as well, Morocco was winning. So like, you know, Morocco, even though they only do well in 2 things, get 10 and 9 points and get 19. Whereas the Songhai come 12th every time and get 0. Even though on average they're probably a lot better. Although again, that said, Morocco doesn't look too bad now. They have very quickly leveled up their military. It seems everyone is moving very quickly. Of course, it is deity difficulty, so that isn't necessarily a surprise. We are on standard speed, not quick this time around, but there you go. Just have a look at some of the settings that are on. It is not domination only, apparently, which is a mistake, but it's actually made it quite interesting. I think I don't know. Yeah, I didn't notice. There's actually been there's been action most of the time in this game, as opposed to some of the quiet spells we normally get, so I don't know. Don't know if that made any difference, but yeah, that is a mistake. I mean, it should be domination only normally, but whatever. Aggressive AI is on, so there is that, at least. I say there's a lot going on. There isn't too much going on exactly right now. The attack on Byzantium is probably the most interesting thing, but I think it's about to start heating up a little bit. Can see Poland and Greece throwing quite a lot at it. Morocco has peaced out with Rome. You can actually see the water moving, but it's not moving. It's so weird. It's kind of weird to just look at it. It's sort of very slowly. You can see the top of the water just blowing along, and then it sort of moves back again. It's very weird. I'm just going to focus on this because there isn't too much going on. I mean, we can always break down the battle a little bit more closely. You can see what's going on. I mean, what do we got? Foreign legions. There is some artillery here for Byzantium. A couple of cannons. Have a great war infantry. But Greece and Poland both using riflemen, so they're maybe a bit of a disadvantage. And Poland's artillery's not really got in yet to have a good go at this. This one, it's probably not. Maybe had a couple of shots, but not much more. But I mean, there's plenty of units around. I think it will. Oh, and Greece has got one too now, so they should start to chip away. But 114 city defense is quite high, so it's going to take some time. We'll see what Rome gets up to. They seem very spread out, but they are quite capable if they want to do something. We'll see what they get up to. The other war that's still going on, Garamantes v Carthage, that's not been as exciting as I'd hoped. Both of those now have artillery too, so yeah. But all the civs are starting to make that jump into the modern era. I think it will just be some of the stragglers left behind who won't be. I'm thinking Denmark. Norwegian ski infantry. That's not a Danish unique unit, is it? I thought that was a Swedish unit. Apparently not. They have. Well, it does say Danish Norwegian. That's very annoying, but fair enough. Oh, Poland did grab a city up here. They filled out the rest of this space. Good job, Poland. Thank you for doing that. Someone had to do it. England did grab the east side of Iceland with Newcastle. Put their planes up there. I mean, Iceland's pretty well defended. They have to feed it though, which is not so good. Poland, turn around. Go away. You don't see anything hiding in the ice. There's nothing going on. What do we got? Is there any more like random places I've missed? Oh my goodness, this city's at 20 population. Good job, Songhai. Good job. Right, how's this going? It's still not really progressing. It seems like it should be going quicker, but it is not. I'm going to quickly check what the biggest cities in the world are. What are we? Can't unhide it. Okay. Mercuria's Dongola city is well out in front at the moment at 35. London and Łódź in Poland, which is not even their capital or their second city, so that is incredible really, is up in third place. Babylon, which is owned now by Assyria, is back at 26. Rostov from Russia is also at 26. Not many of those are capitals. I mean, 3 of the top 5, I guess, so maybe that's an unfair assessment. Poland and Russia then appear again with Warsaw and Moscow. Mercuria have Kazir Ibrim at 24, as well as Stockholm, Amsterdam, Nyeni, Sandnes, which is in the Huns, again, not a capital. Garama of the Garamantes at 23, with Rome, Gal, Wrocław of Poland. And then Carthage, Thebes, St. Petersburg, are at 22. Nineveh in Assyria and Asher are at 21. Marrakesh and Lyon in France. Paris of France is at 21 too. Rabat of Morocco is at 21, as well as Marrakesh. Constantinople is at 21. So there you go. All the cities above 20 will go through. Wallachia and Denmark giving us the biggest peace deal ever. No, I'm only kidding. Don't worry. But a peace deal between two civs with one city. I don't really know who would kill Wallachia. Obviously, Byzantium is in the best position, but they're sort of blocked at the moment. I don't think it will happen. The Dutch are probably not going to fight their way through these mountains. I guess the Goths have a chance with if they get... They're another civ that hasn't quite made that jump yet. I said a lot of them are making the jump to the next level in technology. They're not quite there yet, but if they get some planes or some artillery, then they should be able to take down Wallachia pretty easily. And that would, be a nice little expansion for them. Because I think Russia and Poland might be eyeing them up. Once Poland's done with Byzantium and Russia finally commits to it, we might see it. Because at the moment, Russia's just fighting silly wars against countries that are far away. We saw them go after the Ottomans. Now I think they're at war with Byzantium. And they are trying to get down here. It won't work. Well, I say that. They'll normally... If I say it won't work, they'll probably get it to work. But, it shouldn't work. Sweden and the Ottomans have peaced out. And what's going on? Assyria's turn. Are they going to start something big and new? Wouldn't surprise me. The problem with Assyria is all the big civs are kind of away from them. We talk about how good the Netherlands and everyone is. None of them border Assyria. Maybe that's why. Maybe Assyria killed all the other big civs that would have been, potential big civs next to them. So maybe that... I guess that could be a part of it too. Could all be connected. Portugal completes the Kremlin. No, another wonder down. These wonders seem to be very spread out. Assyria hasn't really been going for them, actually. They just seem pretty interested in... Despite there being a science victory on the table and the other types of victory, they just want the domination victory, don't they? You can tell. They're just going for everything they can possibly get their hands on. Arabia denouncing the Huns. Egypt and Morocco now, friends. They're quite far apart, but there you go. England denouncing Rome. Okay, well, there's still some bad blood there, obviously. Following that battle, France grabbed another city here on the tip of Normandy, Marseille. They can, they could still come out this way, but I guess now they can build boats on this side and get them out. I mean, it's not going to have the best production, but it might be something, because at the moment, any boats they build, pretty limited to Orleans here. I'm trying my French pronunciation. I'm not going to get every civ's pronunciations right, but if we can get the French ones down, that's a start. That's a start, right? Lyon, Paris. What happened to the other one? Did they lose it? Where is it? I swear someone corrected my saying of one of their... Oh, maybe that was in my Civ 6. Oh no, it's this city up here. Tra, I think it is. Very... Not how it looks. I mean, the Łódź in Poland one, I like that one. That's definitely not at all how it's spelled at all. But there you go. Fair enough. What other ones have we had? Asher instead of Assur. This is when you guys are lying, because, I've just believed it all. Whoa, what just happened? Egypt did finally get something off of Arabia. This northern city, which gives them Mount Sinai, 8 faith. I don't know if Egypt need that, but they don't. Thebes doesn't even have a religion, but there you go. Something, and not so good for Arabia, but, it makes it a bit harder for Assyria to get to them now, I guess. Egypt's kind of in the way. Arabia, I feel like they're being kept alive solely to trade with Assyria, so they might be okay, actually. And there we go, Assyria has now completed the Apollo program. We might see some civs try to go to space in this one. Obviously on domination victory, they do it, but it's not a priority. Here it might be a bit more of something they're interested in. Assyria, no, not doing anything. I did see Assyria now has mobile SAMs and rocket artillery, so they are starting to really pick up the pace when it comes to technological advancements, which I guess is true to real life, right? Things going a lot faster now than they were 10 years ago, and the same can be said of 10 years before that. So I guess that does represent some stuff. It is pretty realistic. It's a little bit early, 1755 AD, but we can't be perfect here. Not everything works out how we want it to. Egypt, one of the later civs to get an ideology, adopting the autocratic ideology. Fair enough, a lot of civs have gone that way. Dongola is now at 36 for Mercuria. I bet Egypt wish they conquered that, but they did not, of course. And Mercuria is, I think, doing better than Egypt. The Huns have pieced out with Byzantium, who are still holding on pretty fine, despite not even having any units defending that northern city now. Poland, how are you messing up this bad? Although I'm kind of happy. The border gore is going to be disgusting if Poland gets hold of that city. If Greece gets hit, it might just be bearable. But I mean, look, Poland and the Netherlands already have these random patches of land. The Netherlands have this city. It's just going to be such a mess. The fall of Austria has led to this just craziness in this region. Very torn apart. I'm sure we're going to see the Netherlands v Poland at some point. I mean, look at all these units for the Netherlands. It's got to happen. If they could get Russia, and if Russia and the Netherlands teamed up, and like, you know, Russia gets like down to Krakow here, and then the Netherlands get up to Warsaw, that would be amazing. Like, to see just if they could work together like that. I'm sure they are not capable of that, but if they could, it would be interesting to see it work out. And then, I mean, who wins out of those two? Because then those two are probably second and third, almost guaranteed at that point. It would be very interesting to see how it goes from there. Very much World War II vibes, though. Russia and just the Netherlands replacing Germany in this scenario. With poor little Belgium just all trapped inside. It's going to be quite interesting to see who sneaks into the top 10 as well. Because it looked like the sort of the top maybe 7. If we say Assyria, Poland, Russia, and the 4 big Europeans. So that's like, yeah, the top 7 were kind of locked in. But the rest of the spots seemed fairly up for grabs. I think some of the North African civs could get in there. Mali, the Songhai, Mercuria could maybe sneak in. Greece, and then some of the other not so big. Greece and France and Sweden were also appearing. So it will be interesting to see which of those could sneak in. The Huns as well, maybe, if something goes right for them, could find their way. I mean, not even going right. There's plenty of time where, you know, one of the other civs who is competing could die, right? It's not out of the question that France gets taken out at some point, or Rome just collapses to Portugal or something. You know, anything's possible. Poland was one that I would put highly likely could go horribly wrong for them if Russia and the Netherlands decide to team up. So yeah, anything's possible. And obviously Assyria can still go and ruin someone's day. Although they're going to have to go through quite a few other civs to get to any other contenders. Very weird, they're so isolated in that corner, but doing so well. Greece goes autocracy, and the Ottomans actually opt for freedom. It seems any civ that is being oppressed a little bit, they immediately go for the freedom. Which makes sense, I guess. Who else is freedom right now? France and England, not so much, but the Ottomans and Byzantium and Carthage, yeah, they were all under attack when they made that decision to go freedom. This city is now in the red, so I think it is down to whoever gets their next turn. Greece will have gone this turn. I don't know if Poland has, but I don't think they can get there this turn. We will find out. M is before P in the alphabet, so there's a good chance Poland is next up. M, N, O, P. Yep, there's Poland, but I don't think they're close enough. There's a hill. There's other things. There is a road. Okay, yes, they just miss out, so Greece should grab it with that cavalry unit, because Byzantium has been. So yeah, Poland just missing out, but probably for the sake of the borders of the world, this is quite good. And it would be quite interesting if Greece continues successfully here and grabs the rest of the cities. Constantinople will be a challenge, but especially since they're kind of cut off, but they do have open borders, so that's okay. And a big war in West Africa. Oh, Mali versus Morocco. Morocco with planes. I was just 20 minutes ago, I was saying how Morocco doesn't look as good. Now all of a sudden they got planes. They just wanted to prove me wrong. These civs were all hiding it from me, how good their militaries were. They've obviously got their you know, they're just good at covering up their secrets. They've got their Area 51s built for their secret planes. I see how it is. Utike here is into the yellow, so maybe the Garamantes will finally make some progress. It's only taken them 44 minutes thus far. Greece very briefly took this city off Byzantium, but I did not account for Byzantium taking it back, which means Poland is not out of this race yet. Their turn hasn't been yet, so they may drop it quite low in a few minutes' time. We'll see how that works for them. Shouldn't be too difficult for them. Poland, here we go. Are they going to do it? Going to do some damage? Oh, right down to 0. So they played into Greece's hands again. They should have probably taken a turn off and not shot it. if they were, you know, being super smart, but they probably aren't thinking about Greece conquering it as well. They're just thinking about themselves, I would imagine. I don't know if computers try to think about how the other computers think. That might be a bit too scary to think about. Morocco has peaced out with Arabia. That would explain why they were friends with Egypt. Egypt is obviously at war with Arabia. Few announcements. Arabia has peaced out with the Ottomans, and Greece retook Arges here, which I think used to actually be Walachia's city, if I'm not mistaken. But there we go. It falls. It may have even been their initial capital. No, I think this was. But there you go. That looks a bit nicer. Greece's borders continuing to grow. A bit late, but they're getting somewhere. Poland is still here. They can still do some damage to the other cities. Arabia is fine for now. Egypt's not really doing anything else. Syria's still the biggest threat with all these units. Oh my goodness. Even at this point, even their cities in the desert, like, they're contributing something. 6 4s and 5s. They must be helping a little bit. Not that any of these civs would be brave enough to attack them, I'm sure. Garamanti's putting Utike into the red, and in the early turns of Morocco v Mali, we see a couple of exchanges. Morocco will definitely be making some... Yeah, they have a navy, Mali doesn't, so these islands will be sitting ducks, but I mean, they're not the best cities. What happens on land is much more important, but yeah, there's a bit of damage being spread around, but we'll see who wins. Obviously, more importantly, if Mali gets weak enough, you could see the Songhai jumping in too, and that's when it gets a bit rough. That's when it could get a little bit nasty for poor Mali. We'll keep an eye on it though. Europe's quieting down a bit. The Dutch did get another city up here in the Shetland Islands, and then these are the Faroe Islands, and these are some other islands, or maybe the other way around, but this is definitely the Faroe Islands. But there you go, the Dutch with 2 islands. Fairly useful. I mean, it doesn't really cut anyone off too much unless their borders grow out this way. But yeah, there you go. They've got it either way. Mali does have a settler heading towards Iceland. I guess maybe you could squeeze a city in. I'm not really sure. The limit is like 1 or 2 tiles in this map anyway. So maybe they can squeeze one in the middle if my brain is working properly. Could you settle here? 1, 2... I think you could settle here. I think you settle on this snow hill. Or here, I guess, is also technically safe. But we'll see. But most of the good stuff is gone. You know, these tiles don't have any yields, really. A bit of snow. Yeah, that snow doesn't give anything. So you only get 1 food. Not sure if it's worth the hassle. Oh, Morocco did grab a city. Yeah, it was the first island. Okay, and it has changed colour to a very long farm. That just looks very weird, doesn't it? Very sludgy. There we go. Great Warbot. Is that on an aircraft carrier? Oh my goodness, Songhai. Everyone is just going crazy with the technology in these last few turns. We normally never see it happen this quickly, but I guess, you know, we've gone through 30 turns, I guess, so that does make sense. A little bit slower than I thought it would be, but it's... I mean, we're 13 away. We've got 12 minutes. We can get pretty close to 280, which is where I sort of said we'd probably end up. And I looked through more things than just the info addicts in the end, and obviously I stop and talk, so yeah, I guess it is going to go slower. But it's fine, it's not a problem. I think you guys are enjoying it, so that's good. It seems to be that way. You are watching a lot of it, a lot of minutes. I think it might be some sort of record for like week 1 minutes on episode 1. It's ridiculous. But France with another city. My French accent can't really help me out here with this one. Orléans. I've got to practice the other ones to get into it. Paris, Orléans, Lyon, Marseille. I don't know how you say Marseille. I just say it Marseille in English accent. Tours. I don't know how on earth you say that one actually. Troyes. And then Château. I don't know idea. Chartres. If I just say it in English, that sounds worse, but actually maybe not worse. Greece gets a peace deal with Byzantium. That means they hold on to their 2 cities. So there we go. That's the end of that for now. Byzantium safe for a little while. I also saw this notification that said Assyria has just entered the information era, so I think resources are definitely holding them back military wise. You know, just I think their science is going a lot quicker than their production. That is for sure, because obviously science is universal, right, to the whole civ. So every little city's adding to their science output, even though it makes it more expensive to get the tech. They've got a lot of science, whereas the production is still limited by stuff like city size. And we did see that list. Syria's biggest pop outside of Babylon. They don't have too many huge cities. Even these two, the other two big ones, Nineveh and Asher, and then Babylon's here. They're all at 27, but they don't have many mines or anything. It's all farmland. So the production there might still be a bit low, despite the high population. So that might be holding them back a little bit. Probably not a huge amount, but a tiny bit. Right, here we go. So in terms of cities here being sieged, it is mainly this new one from Mali that's having a struggle. They border each other in so many places. That is the issue. I don't think there's going to be a runaway winner. Rome versus Belgium does not matter too much. And the Goths have now got this Carthaginian city to 0 city defense, but not grabbed it quite yet. Maybe this turn there is a privateer, which they should be able to. Yeah, it didn't survive actually, but there is a great war infantry in the water. So we'll stay here. We'll see what happens. There's no other major wars going on. Poland and Greece obviously pieced out with Byzantium. Sweden v Belgium, no. We need it to be the Netherlands for it to matter. The Netherlands would probably eliminate Belgium in like a turn or two, but there we go. I don't know, maybe not. Belgium did have a good amount of units, so at least there's some hope for them. But here we go, we'll keep an eye on this. Can the Garamantes get the job done in the next few turns? When it finally gets to them. One thing I will say with this series, it's proven very awkward to schedule, because I'm trying to stay 2 weeks ahead with the schedule. You've probably seen me putting in the community tab the schedule for the week with obviously the streams and stuff. But with this series, I don't really know when it's going to end. So that's been quite awkward. And then obviously, we get to a point where suddenly it ends all of a sudden, and then I have to think of a new idea and get it all set up in like a day. Can be a bit awkward. But in terms of the next AI battle, I mean, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there is not really an idea actually. There isn't any ideas. No, there's like really broad ideas of like categories of things I would like to try. There isn't a specific one I'm going to do planned, I would say. That's where we're at. But yeah, it will be quite an interesting one. I was thinking of playing with the map. There was one like real concrete idea I had. I'm not sure I'm going to do it because it's not quite perfect, but I'm going to think of some things today just so we can be prepared, and I'll let you in on that maybe in the next one. Yeah, but you'll know soon enough. I mean, you'll probably see. It's probably only like a week or two away, the speed this one's going. I will probably push this one to the results whenever that is, and we can keep going. I mean, if no one's too bothered about it slowing down a little bit, if people are going to keep watching, that's fine. We'll keep just watching every turn. But I'm sure there will be a point where even this one gets too slow, and then, I'll do the thing. I'll just show you what happens at turn 450, 500. Well, okay, that might be I don't know if I'm pushing it with those promises. Let's not quote a number. But, I'll show you something like that every 50 turns from the point where it just gets a little bit too slow. But we're not there yet, although I think this game is frozen. Was that on Morocco for a really long time, or was that just two separate? I think that was two different turns, and I just happened to look when it was on Morocco twice. Morocco does grab the city here off of Mali, but Mali comes back, doing a bit of damage to Fez here. But yeah, I mean, so far, Morocco's come out of this better off. They've gained 2 cities, and as soon as I look away, of course, the Garamantes get the job done and conquer the city of Utique, which now means Carthage are sadly in the one city civ club. England piecing out with Belgium, but yeah, the Dutch are the ones that they want to watch out for. That could be quite rough. Oh, look at that tile. That's very annoying. Look at that Belgium tile. Where is the biggest land border? That's always a fun, interesting thing to look at. I'm guessing this Dutch-Poland one is quite a long one. Yep, all the way down here. Poland and Russia also have a fairly big one, even into the sort of the no-go zone, although Denmark and Sweden have managed to squeeze units through. Don't ask, they're there. Technically, I think paratroopers and XCOM squads can also go over there, so that's when we're getting towards the point where the mountains, as long as settlers don't squeeze through, it's not too bad. And even if a settler does squeeze through, I mean, I'm not going to kill anyone for it. It's not the end of the world. One city giving them, I don't think it will have a huge impact. As long as like Assyria or Russia doesn't start, just mass settling the whole area when they glitch through, it should be okay. I don't really know how it happens. I think normally I've seen it happen before because like a civ has just filled up all of its land tiles, so it spawns in another area. But I don't know how this infantry's got here. That makes no sense because Sweden is not full. And I mean, this Danish crossbowman must have literally just walked through. I don't know if there's a gap here. If you try hard enough, you just squeeze yourself through maybe up the river. I'm not really sure, but they have made it through anyway. I mean, I feel like if there was a gap, a proper, like, actual gap, the rest of the AI would have found it by now. So I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's just a glitch. I think Denmark probably went through because they got pushed out, right? They were probably trapped like here, and Sweden pushed them through with the borders. I don't know how this Great War Infantry got here. That might have got pushed through from somewhere else and is now stuck here. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But it's there now. Doesn't matter too much. The Goths complete Big Ben. And I saw that those cities getting conquered sort of got undone. Morocco lost Wadan here. The Garamantes did lose TK, but they got it back again. Egypt has peaced out with Arabia. And Medina was given in the peace deal. So Arabia now actually doesn't really border Assyria anymore. So they're sort of safe. Egypt has straight away declared war on Wallachia with Greece. Oh, Greece. This is interesting. Poland's kind of in your way, though. And Russia has completed the Apollo program. So they were first to get the Manhattan Project, but they've fallen behind a little bit on the space race. But they get it done, so not going to say anything. Second is certainly not bad. They're way ahead of everyone else by the look of it. I'm surprised they're not doing more, Russia, because they now have some really good advantages. And they're just sitting here doing nothing. They're just annoyed I didn't let them have their tundra, so they're just going to sit there and sulk. I could see that happening. I think this is the first Europe game I've done that they haven't won in something like 3 years, so there is that. And I mean, let's not count them out yet. Anything can happen, but I'm sure this one Assyria's got in the bag. Morocco's turn. How you doing, Morocco? I feel like this is going to be a stalemate. I got excited for it, but I think it's going to be a pretty boring war. They do grab back that one population city again. Yeah, Mali not doing much there in return. They may actually lose another city here to Morocco. But the Songhai haven't even joined in, which is really disappointing. They've always been my favourite civ, but they're starting to, I don't know, they just don't seem to be as good anymore. So they used to do okay, but they've just never really done too much. They were only my favourite civ because I played as them in my first game, like of ever playing civ, so that's why. There's no major reason. In terms of colour, I actually really like the Netherlands colour. I've played as them before in a TSL game. That was really fun. They settled The Hague here, and I think this is maybe new as well. That's their settling. I think it's been here for most of this episode, but I sort of missed it. But yeah, a couple of new cities for them. Inside their own borders, which of course can act, there's a number of reasons that could be useful. Just more production. The food might have you may have seen the growth stale out at these cities, so you can just squeeze out the extra food into these ones. Extra production. You can put planes in them, which could be useful and move planes around. And you can also use them obviously with bombarding, city bombardments if you're in a war. The Dutch did just enter the atomic era, so well behind Assyria and Russia, but I think that's where most of the other civs are. Obviously, civs might be rushing stuff as well. I actually probably should check. Does Assyria have any nukes? Yes, okay, they have 3 atomic bombs. That was the one thing I hadn't really checked. I knew they had planes, I hadn't checked that. I don't think Russia... Yeah, Russia doesn't have any planes or nukes, so I think they just don't have any uranium or oil, which is a shame for them. Right, we're not quite going to make turn 280. I guess turn 275, I would say, is probably where we're going to end. No, 274 maybe, I don't know. We'll do one more turn after this one. Belgium just took forever, and then a civ who's who's a lot bigger just flew by. That was so weird. I guess it does depend what they're choosing to do. If Wallachia comes out of here and re-grabs this city and Greece messes it up, that would be hilarious. Please don't do this, Greece. Don't embarrass yourself like that. I'm sure you'll find a way to do it, but please don't. Come on, you're better than that. Right, here we go. One last turn for this episode. There'll definitely be... The next one will definitely do the flat out, you know, we'll follow through. I think we'll make the results turn 350. I don't know. You guys can leave a comment on this one. I will see it before I record the next episode because I do both the episodes at the weekend. So let me know if you would maybe think we should do it at 300. I think the results could probably come in at 350. Obviously, I need to try and make it fit to the end of an episode, which 350 may actually work if it keeps slowing down a little bit. We've sort of done 37. We've done 36 turns this episode and an info addict check. Although we'll have to do one next time, so it doesn't. We'll probably be doing the same next time. I don't know. Whatever. England v Denmark. I thought it happened at the start. It was actually Belgium, but yeah, England should probably eliminate Denmark here. Not a huge, you know, city to add, but it's a little boost. You know, they're all competing with each other on the slightest of details. England and the Netherlands, Portugal and Rome in particular. France was in there as well. So I mean, it helps. You know. It's going to add to their score, maybe add to a few of their categories in the info addicts. Maybe it's what pushes them from like 5th place to 4th place or something. Could be quite exciting. And Morocco is still making progress. There you go. I thought Mali were doing well, remember, on score in particular. They were quite high, but Morocco here, who I criticised as the worst of the 3 in West Africa, is, you know, is the one making the moves. So credit to Morocco. But that will be it, unless the Garamantes are about to siege out Carthage and I missed it. Not quite. Actually, they lost this city as well. But that will be it, although they have planes now, which certainly helps. I don't think they had them the whole time. But that will be it for this episode. So as always, if you have enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and be sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. We're really close to 1,600. We may have got there by now because this is Wednesday's video, isn't it? But yeah, it would be amazing if we could reach that. I'm very thankful. The 16th time we've got to 100 subscribers. 100 people. It doesn't even register in my brain. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.